Well, hello and welcome back to another video. It's such a lovely day. I really think you might class it as St Luke's little summer. The other day I went for a walk and for no real purpose other than some exercise, and I come across a wonderful tree, and which there'll be a little, not very good because I couldn't get particularly close to this tree, but there's a little clip of video coming eventually about that tree. But that led me on to, I was cleaning some more of my junk out of one of my old wooden workshop, and I came across this, and so I thought I'd do a mystery object connected to this tree that I'm going to have a look at. And now, obviously, if you'd like to think what this is, or you know what this is, please put it down in the description below, or in the comments, I should say. I will tell you at the end of the video. Obviously, this is made out of hornbeam wood, which is very, very hard. It's one of the hardest woods. It's harder than oak. Unfortunately, hornbeam, like in roofs, and if it gets subject to damp, it doesn't last, but it is a tremendously hard wood. You know, I think some people call it the rock tree. I think the name horn and beam all relate to the hardness of the timber. So this ties in nicely. It's a very solid wood. This is very, very heavy, this item. So I don't, you know, I'll hold it closer to the camera at the end to give you a really good look at it. I'll give you one clue. It's nothing to do with anything military. I mean, it looks like a big bullet, but it's nothing whatsoever to do with any military, any guns, any, you know, anything like that. It's nothing whatsoever to do with that. But as I say, this dates, this is, I believe this to be an Edwardian one. I think this was probably more than likely homemade by a member of my family who was a joiner cabinet maker, who made it for another member of my family, if you get my drift. So there we go. A very, very unusual item. It served a very good purpose, made out of the very hardwood hornbeam, and I just thought, I wonder whether anybody's ever seen one of these, or has one of these, or knows what it is. And I will tell you at the end. And here's the little bit of clip about me finding this rather spectacular, very old hornbeam tree the other day. And I'll just move this to the camera so you get a better view of it. There we come. As you can see. So any ideas what that was, what it's called, what it was used for? It served a very, very valuable purpose in its day. Anyway, on with the video. So here we've got another wonderfully fine tree, and this is in fact a very, very old hornbeam tree, and I mean, this has been here many, many years. Half of it has sadly died, and although this half is still growing very well, I can't get right to the bank because there's so many to the bark rather, because there's so many trees and there's some horses, and that's a different owned piece of land there. But a wonderful tree. Hornbeam has some wonderful folklore associated with it. It's a very, very hard wood, and it's in fact harder than oak. But it doesn't last. If it's subject to damp, or it gets damp, then it goes rotten very quickly. But it was used, firstly of all, by the Romans for their chariots. They actually used it because it was so hard for that purpose. Later on, and this might have been planted here for that reason, it was used in windmills and water mills for like the cog wheels, because there again it's such a hard solid wood. But the interesting fact that I like about the hornbeam is that it was used to make the skittles for the old game of 9-pins, 9-pin bowlings, which is a very old, I mean, I think it goes right back to Egyptian times if you look at it and read into history, but it was certainly played in inns in this country, you know, from medieval times on, where you had a bowling alley, you had a hard wooden ball, which was there again probably shaped out of hornbeam, and you had 9 pins that stood up, and they were made of hard hornbeam, and then you rolled the ball down the alley and tried to get as many pins down as you could in one bowl. Well, this game, interestingly enough, was taken to America. Obviously with the Pilgrim Fathers and all the early settlers, they took it and started playing it. By the time we get to the 1840s, particularly in Connecticut, they thought there was so much drunkenness and gambling going on associated with this game of 9-pin bowling that they outlawed it and actually banned it. Well, some bright spark at that particular time came up with the idea that rather than have no bowling at all, he added an extra pin and called it 10-pin bowling. And obviously that really caught on. Nobody connected this 10-pin bowling to the old game of 9-pin bowling, strangely enough, and that's how we got 10-pin bowling basically. So a beautiful tree, the hornbeam. Yeah, as I say, it supports a lot of wildlife. It's a tree that keeps its leaves quite late on into the winter, a bit like beech. And there again, I'll put the Latin name up of this tree up. But that is a very, very old tree, and as I say, that has been there for many, many years. It has lovely, I can see, I'll see if I can zoom in a bit on that. It does have, where are we? It does have, I don't think you'll see that because I'm not pointing at the camera. It hasn't got a lot of seeds on this tree, but I can see a few, and they almost hang down in like little tassely groups. And that's a good way how you can identify a hornbeam tree. But a beautiful, beautiful tree, very old. And as I say, who knows, that could have been set here for the use on the mill. There is a water mill. Well, if I pan the camera around and through that gap in the trees, you can see the old brick water mill, and there's been a water mill on that site since the Domesday Book. So there we go, that's the hornbeam tree. So as I was trying to indicate there, the hornbeam is a very wonderful tree, and that was a very, very old example. I wish I could have got close to it. I did know it was there, but the land around it over the last few years has changed somewhat. You used to be able to get better access to it, but the land has been somewhat divided off and fenced off, and I couldn't actually get to the tree itself, which was a shame, but never mind. So yeah, coming back to our mystery object, if you had any thoughts about that, I will now reveal what this is and what it was used for. This is in fact called a tan pin, or I have heard it also used a turn pin, and some people later on call them dollies. And basically what this was used for was it would belong to my grandfather, who was a plumber on my father's side. That was, as I've said before, my maternal grandfather was a market gardener, and my father's father was a plumber, and they came from a family of joiners, plumbers, etc. And this was made for him out of a piece of hornbeam tree. And what you did with a tan pin or turn pin or dolly, in the old days when you did a lot of lead, when there was a lot of lead pipe work about, you had to open, there were very wonderful sweated joints in joining two lead pipes together, and you took your tan pin and you fitted it you dropped it into your lead pipe, and then gently, obviously, tapped it. Or if it was a big pipe, you know, you'd have to give it quite a few harder taps, and that actually spread open the top of the lead pipe. And then you'd do some other things. You'd trim round it. You'd trim round the inside with a knife and make it all really good. And then you would find your new lead pipe coming in, because there was no such things as compression joints or solder joints. It was all lead piping. Your other piece of lead piping would fit into this flange that your turn pin had forced out. So basically, it's a bit of a tool for spreading open lead pipes to make joints with. A very simple item, a very clever item, and as I say, that is made, I do know, out of obviously somebody cut a piece of hornbeam and made that out of that wood, and a wonderful tool that, you know, nobody would have any need for now. We have most on new houses, it's all plastic plumbing even, isn't it? You know, it's all push fit and so, you know, the realms of lead plumbing, you know, is really frowned upon, because, you know, it has all sorts of problematical things like lead poisoning and all manner of things. And so there we go, a turn pin used for opening lead pipes out to make a joint. And there's another piece of hornbeam as well, and that's a probably made at the same time out of the same branch or piece of wood, and that is a lead dressing tool. And that is obviously very heavy, and you know, you can dress if you're doing lead flash or any, I mean, there was so much lead work in the day, you know, you need it. I've got a whole range of these wonderful old wooden tools like this that are amazing, and they're so beautiful. They're so, you know, been well used and well loved, and the patina they've sort of got on them over the years. And sadly, so few of these, you know, sort of older plumbing skills are used now. There obviously is still lead used on church roofs and the like, and cathedrals and various other buildings, but a real art. So I hope you've enjoyed this little look at the hornbeam tree, and do look out for the hornbeam tree. It's a wonderful tree, yeah, very distinctive, as I say, with its bunches of kind of fruits or seeds this time of year. And you don't see many well-established hornbeam trees. You have to really sort of look out for them. So as always, thanks for watching. Please do like, comment, subscribe. Love getting your comments and hearing from you, and thank you to everyone that has subscribed and does comment. It's great, thank you ever so much. And until next time, my best wishes and bye for now.